Mystery Mogul. Mystery Mogul begins now, and Kaylin's in charge, of course, today. And today we stay here in Korea, yeah?
Yes, and it's a story about two women in the same area who went missing year after, like a year apart from each other, back to back.
Two women from the same area, exactly the same area, and they went missing in back-to-back years.
Yeah, and they were also somewhat related.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll get into detail a little later, but I'm going to start with the story of the first lady.
Let's hear it.
In the city of Cheonan, there were two women who went missing. Two women, different years. But surprisingly, the way that they disappeared was too similar. So let me start with the story of one of the ladies, Kim Mi-ae. 2005. Elementary school teacher Kim Mi-ae suddenly quit her job. She had met a man. He was Korean American and quite competent. So they were going to get married in the United States after she moved to the States. So she moved out of her house, sold her car. Then she said goodbye to her family and flew to the States. Right after she arrived in the States, she called her family. But that was the last her family heard from her. They didn't know where she was going, where she was going to live, who she was marrying. It all just happened so quickly. 7 months later, the family receives a letter. The letter read, "Mom, I miss you. I'm sorry I haven't been keeping in touch. I had a lot to do. I had to buy a house, and I just didn't have the time. I also moved my job to New York." But there was something really fishy about the letter. It wasn't handwritten, but it was a printed letter. And the letter didn't come via international mail. The post stamp on the envelope said, "Tangjong Post Office in Cheonan." Well, then in October of that year, a man called Kim Mi-ae's younger sister. He said, "Hey, your sister's moving to Turkey, and before she goes, she wants to send a home appliance to her mother." He said that he was Kim Mi-ae's coworker. But this phone call was so fishy. And the family finally thought that there was something very wrong about this whole situation, so they reported it to the police. The police found out that there were no records of Kim Mi-ae flying out of the country. She was in Korea all along. Well, then the question is, alive or dead?
This is bizarre.
I know, right?
So she said this is not that long ago. This is 2005.
Yeah.
She said she was getting married to a Korean American guy.
Mm-hmm.
Had the family met him?
No.
Oh.
She said, I met this guy. We're going to get married. And then, well, I think maybe some of them have probably met him, but not really get to know him.
Okay.
So she said she was going to move to the States, get married there, but it's just too, expensive and everything to fly everyone out. And it was a great opportunity for her. She was in her 30s, but she had a promising job. She's an elementary school teacher, which is a job that a lot of people want, right? And hard to get. So it was so weird when she just quit all of a sudden. She sold her house, sold her car, took the money, and just left to the States, saying goodbye to her family.
And then they didn't hear from her for 7 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone.
Yeah,
even,
it's a little.
Even if it was 3 months, that would be like alarming, no? But then
Right.
4 and 5 and 6 and then 7. And then to receive this letter.
Which was really weird because it didn't come in via international mail.
Yeah, exactly. It came from their hometown.
Yup.
And it was printed from a computer. Was
Not handwritten.
Was it signed?
I don't think so. Yeah. So it was just a paper with just, a printed letter.
And then in October of that year, so fast forward maybe a couple of months, and then some guy calls her sister.
Yeah. So it's such a random phone call.
Yeah, and says your sister's going to Turkey.
Yeah, she's moving to Turkey, but she's really, she really misses her mom. She really wants to thank her.
And
for
send
all-
her a home
a home appliance. So he said, come and get it.
What?
So the sister was like, okay. And then while she was talking with her family about this, like,
Yeah.
My sister's moving to Turkey?
So then they check records, and she had never left the country.
Never, ever.
This is bizarre. We'll find out what happened. And then there's another part to this story.
Here's part 2 of the story. A year after Kim Mie disappeared, September 2006, another woman from Cheonan disappeared. Her name is Yang Ji-young. She was 30 years old at the time. Now, she said she was going to China so that she could study Chinese. But just like Kim Mie, she suddenly disappeared into thin air. The man who called Kim Mie's sister in the first part of the story is suspected to be the kidnapper of both of these ladies. Or he could even be the murderer of these two women. His name is Kang Sang-don. Now, there's another interesting thing about this story. Turns out these two women who went missing, Kim Mie and Yang Ji-young, were once family. So Yang Ji-young, the second woman who disappeared, was Kim Mie's ex-husband's younger sister. Now, it gets even worse. These two ladies are both suspected to have an affair with Kang Sang-don.
Oh.
So why is Kang Sang-don the suspect? Well, he spent Kim Mie's credit card for months after she disappeared. He spent almost 7천만 won, 70 million won.
Wow.
And Yang Ji-young had wire transferred her house down payment to Kang Sang-don's mother soon before she disappeared. Now, the two have been missing for the past, 15 years? And they had never left the country. Now, Kang Sang-don, where is he now? Well, he left the country with his family. He had a family. They moved all to the Philippines. There, he managed a Korean restaurant in a non-Korean populated area. So not many Koreans living in the Philippines have met him or have known him. But now that Korean restaurant is no longer in business, he and his family has also disappeared, and no one knows about his whereabouts.
Oh my God.
Currently, he's still being searched for?
Yes. So currently, he is wanted by Interpol. You can find his picture online. So if you have seen his face, again, his name is Kang Sang-don, please report him to the police.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
So, what was the connection to him and Kim Mie's? So Kim Mie was the first woman to disappear, right?
Yes. So she was once married, right? She was a divorcee.
Yeah.
So her ex-husband...
When you say ex-husband, you're not talking about the Korean-American guy.
No.
Okay.
So I guess because it was her second marriage, her family wasn't like all in and about all the facts about the guy and whatnot.
Okay.
They just let her be, I guess. That's why she was able to just say, oh, I met this guy. We're going to move to the States.
Okay.
And they were okay about it.
So that
I
was
guess.
real.
It was real.
Okay.
Oh, no. The Korean-American guy is probably Kang Sang-don. Yeah, so before him, she was married, right?
Okay.
And the other girl who disappeared was that ex-husband's younger sister too.
I see.
So the two girls, they know each other,
Right.
They were once family.
Yeah, right.
And both of them are supposedly had an affair with this man who is the suspect.
Okay, so that means obviously he knows both of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then he disappeared. He spent $70,000. He disappeared to the Philippines. They know he went to the Philippines.
Yeah, they have records of him leaving with his family to the Philippines.
They have records of him owning a Korean restaurant in the
Yes.
Philippines.
Uh-huh. And some people have said, I met him.
But during that time, I don't get it. If he was a suspect and then he fled to the Philippines, but there was knowledge of him having a restaurant there, why was he not arrested at that time, or at least brought back to Korea as a suspect?
I guess there wasn't enough evidence to track him down.
Okay.
I guess.
Oh,
And
so
when
this was like later on they found
later
out.
on they found out that I think because he is the man who is kind of like the connection to all of them, right?
Wow.
So they wanted to arrest him, but they can't find him.
So you can go to Interpol's homepage and find his image there.
Yeah, if you just type in Kang Sang-don on one of the search engines here, then you can see his face.
Wow. He's still missing today. And those women are still missing today
They're
as well.
still
There's no
missing.
conclusion to this story whatsoever.
No conclusion.
Wow, what a
which
story.
which is so sad.
Yeah.
Sad for the family as
Yeah.
well. Families as well, right? All right. Thank you for that, Caleb.